Maria Bartiromo, and of course the new co-chair. She the co-chair or the assistant chair?
She's the co-chair.
Co-chair of the Republican National Committee.
Beautiful co-chair.
Listen, Watley is there. He is the chair, but she's in charge of the money. I mean, the envelopes. The envelopes full of money that are going to be sent to me. So, don't forget the way we do it with the RNC. One for you, one for me.
One for my lawyers.
One for me, one for me. One for me, one for me. One for me, one ostensibly for my lawyer, but not really. One for me.
Take the ones
one
that were for Rudy
one for me.
and give them to me.
Yes, not for Rudy, for me, for me, for me, and then one for you. And then one for me, and that's the way it's going to go.
And then one for their campaigns, I guess.
But this is if this story is true, this is pretty harrowing stuff. Let's listen to Maria Bartiromo talk about how the plan to allow undocumented immigrants to pour across the border and immediately get Democrats elected is going exactly as planned.
Have to question whether or not this is about the 10 million illegals who have come into this country on Joe Biden's watch. I had a friend the other day tell me she was standing at a food truck. Two gentlemen approached her. One had tattoos all over his face. They looked like illegals, she said, and one had a clipboard, and he said to her, "Hello, miss, do you want to sign up to become a Democrat and vote?" So you're talking about people that you want to hire. They're already doing that, and they may be doing it with illegals coming into this country. Have to question
that
whether or not
is
this is
so
a few leaps in there.
It's so ballsy to be able to say that, and
to millions of people.
Yeah. Well, the amazing part. Well, first off, my understanding is that there is not 10 million unauthorized immigrants that have come across the border or have come into the country in the past 3 or 4 years. That we have a population of about 10 million undocumented immigrants, which I actually think is down from where we were in the 1990s, and maybe even even in the aughts. I think it's down about 15% from where it was 10, 15 years ago.
If having a permeable border means we don't have a country, then we have never had a country.
Indeed. But putting that aside, what does it mean to look like a quote illegal? What does that mean? Yeah. What is it that it means that you look like? I mean,
there's a limited list of things I could name, and it's mainly looking Latino.
I mean, maybe they look like they were undocumented Irish immigrants. Incidentally, about 50-50 who have entered the country without papers and who have overstayed their papers in that 10 million unauthorized immigrant figure. But I mean, student? They look like a student? What do they look like?
Yeah, and I'll just say, they're as far as demonizing immigrants, them getting involved in our civic, getting people to vote. First of all, it's obviously not true. This guy's people who are in this country undocumented aren't rushing to help the Democrats win elections by putting their face out there to Maria Bartiromo's friends, getting people to vote. The idea that they would risk that is ridiculous.
Well, it's not inconceivable that an undocumented immigrant might have a job for $15 an hour collecting signatures.
Sure.
And this person seems like a very a polite person. Nice. Miss, would you care to sign up for the Democratic Party?
Yeah.
Now, incidentally, that's not how it works. You don't register by just writing your name on a clipboard out in the streets.
Well, not yet.
Now, you might get a petition. That might be a petition to get somebody's name on a ballot. Wait, just play this thing again, because the amount of lies associated with it's first off, I don't think any of this happened. But let's pretend it did. Then just the other set of lies, he looked like an illegal. And of course, he was also doing something that wasn't here. Play it again.
Have to question whether or not this is about the 10 million illegals who have come into this country on Joe Biden's watch. I had a friend the other day tell me she was standing at a food truck. Two gentlemen approached her. One had tattoos all over his face. They looked like illegals, she said. And one had a clipboard, and he said to her, "Hello, miss, do you want to sign up to become a Democrat and vote?" So you're talking about people that you want to hire. They're already doing that. And they may be doing it with illegals coming into this country.
It's so amazing. First of all, that's not how you register to vote.
Yeah. I also have to point out when it comes to like people hiring illegals, as Bartiromo says, Donald Trump building his Pride and Joy Trump Tower in the 80s was fined millions of dollars because he was employing illegal Polish labor to carry out asbestos. That's just a documented fact. And when they started raising a fuss, because guess what? Trump was stiffing them, if you can believe him, on payment, even the lower pay that they had agreed to. They threatened to hang the liaison between Trump and that labor who had organized it in the first place. And then Trump said, how about we get border enforcement involved in this? So like that's the real thing about how these people regard illegal immigrants is we're not actually trying to enforce the law. We're trying to exploit them for labor. And if they get uppity, we're going to call ICE on them.